Hi. This is still pulling up in my recommended section, and I still love Markiplier. After 7.5 years of watching him, I still love him. Spooky rice.
She has really bad allergies.
Great, she's going to get away.
No, she's not gonna get away. Yeah, she got away.
You let her go on purpose.
Did not?
Yes, you did. And now we're going to have a meeting about it. Titans, we are here today to discuss Cyborg's crush on Jinx. Starfire.
Good thing we're having Meatloaf for dinner.
TFlipFlop has an incredibly silly name, there's no doubt about it, but it's probably...
Shout out to Dancing McLeland and whatever his name is, Little Bud, and all the people that I have tried to help in YouTube. Tell them hi.
Have you been eating the bologna again?
I mean, that ear-piercing kid, whatever his name is, I keep forgetting.
And how do you know that?
I know everything about it. Favorite color, techniques, she business too. Everything.
What are my subscriptions again? Dancing McLeland, whatever you are. Either that or it's just, I don't know. E. I have hundreds of them. Thousands of them. That's not all of them. It's impossible to know all of them. And remember them forever. One of my favorites.
No, I'm tracking you.
My third favorite.
Also, I got you this.
Yes, last Nathan, that ear-piercing little boy. Have a nice day.
One of the most useful redstone circuits in Minecraft, and pretty much every single one of my redstone contraptions has one of some form somewhere. What it does is it converts a redstone pulse into a constant redstone output that you can toggle on or off. So today we're going to take a look at every single variation of the TFlipFlop, every design that you can possibly use. I've spent the past couple of days thinking about this, so hopefully I haven't missed out any obvious ones, but this should give you a very good selection to work from. Design number one is arguably the most common, making use of a sticky piston monostable circuit. Now what this thing does is it converts this redstone pulse from the button into a one-tick pulse that we then send through this repeater and into this piston, and what that one-tick pulse does is it causes the piston to spit out its block. Now sadly this only works in the Minecraft Java edition because that is the only version of Minecraft that actually involves this piston spitting mechanic, which is a bit of a shame because it's incredibly useful. I use it pretty much everywhere. Now this right here is a semi-silent version of the TFlipFlop. When we hit this button, you can hear we get a tick, but we don't get any piston noises going on, and it works by cycling items round inside the droppers. So right now the item is inside this dropper right here, then when we hit the button it gets sent up into this dropper because this dropper is facing upwards, and then when we hit the button again the item gets sent across, it goes into this dropper here, makes its way down into this hopper, which then cycles it back round into that dropper there. And you take the output out the side with a comparator, which then of course runs out to show off this redstone lamp. An alternative way of using this configuration is to run a dropper facing upwards, a dropper facing across, a hopper facing down, and then a dropper running back across into this dropper.
Why the hell is that up there? Yes, you do care. You better care, or she will kill you and behead you. I bet you that'll be my little brother as soon as he finds a girlfriend.
Over here, so it kind of goes up and round in a cycle, and that means that you can take the comparator output from direct.
That's why I don't get any girlfriends, because I don't really think that I will never get any. Besides, even when I do, I don't think that I will like her anyway, because they always try to hurt me in a single way. Then I punch them in the face, and it's over. I'm a dang brute. What else am I supposed to do? Act stupid? Yeah, right.
behind the button, so it's kind of all in line like this as opposed to coming out the side. It's a pretty good alternative. This design right here works in a similar fashion to the first one, making sure that we have 1 tick pulses to cause this sticky piston here to spit out its blocks. But instead of using a monostable circuit, this actually makes use of observers being moved, which means that we've managed to shave off 1 block of the total length, and also we've managed to make it a little bit shorter as well. It's only 2 blocks tall. A design that I distinctly remember working back in the olden days was this system right here, where you had some water and also a boat, and you'd hit the button and the water would be removed, and then the boat would land on the pressure plates, and then you press the button again, the water would come out and the boat would float upwards, turning off the pressure plates. But sadly, that doesn't seem to work anymore, which is a real shame because this thing looks hilarious. Now this right here is one of the oldest T-flip-flops I can possibly think of. This is what we were using in the early days of pistons. What you do is you just press this button right here, and you can see that the block moves across, so it toggles every single time you press the button. Now, the only slight issue with this design is that it's known as a falling edge T-flip-flop, and the reason for this is that it only activates on the falling edge of the pulse. Now, the falling edge is when the pulse actually ends. So when we hit this button, you can see it's powered, and then when it unpowers, that's when it switches over. But despite this, it's an incredibly compact design that's also fairly cheap as well. Next, we've got another observer-based design which relies on 1 tick pulses, but this one is only 1 block tall and is only 1 block wide as well. So it's 1 by 1 by 6. Now that is not particularly big. I mean, 6 blocks in total T-flip-flop, they don't get much smaller than that. And you can see that you'll be able to slot this pretty much anywhere. If you've got a compact redstone circuit, you'll be able to wrap this around. This design may look fairly similar to this design over here, but whereas this one is a falling edge T-flip-flop, this one is now a rising edge T-flip-flop. Now unfortunately it has been made a tiny bit bigger, but it activates at the start of the pulse as opposed to activating at the end of the pulse, which makes it, well, tends to make it a tiny bit more useful in real world situations. And as you can see, we've just got redstone torches, we've got both of our pistons right here, and then the redstone and the redstone torches underneath. Pretty simple little build. If you're looking for something a little bit on the daft side, then this is the perfect T-flip-flop for you. As you can see, we hit the button and it activates the detector rails as it travels past, which therefore push the block back and forth between the pistons. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know how many of you are going to find a use for this one. I mean, it's a bit of an obscure T-flip-flop circuit, but who knows? You might have a lot of minecart rails and not a lot of redstone resources. Then it's perfect. Now then, this is the first T-flip-flop circuit that we've seen today that makes use of locking repeaters. So we've got a little redstone circuit right here. In fact, I'm going to fly on top of it so that you can take screenshots so that you can build it for yourselves. But when we hit the button, the repeaters will unlock and then they will relock, and we have got redstone turning off right here. So we take the output from that redstone dust there. Now the only thing that I'm going to warn you about is that this will not work if you're using anything other than a stone button. It relies on the 10 ticks. You can see with a wooden button, which is 15 ticks, that's not going to work. So definitely something to watch out for with this circuit, as it's entirely timing based. This one is a bit of a quirky one, but it's also incredibly tiny. As you can see, it involves 2 sticky pistons, and then we have a redstone torch and a block, and this block right here is our input, and every single time we press the button, it kind of changes shape. It changes the way that it does it. So on this one, this piston retracts, and then this piston retracts, pulling this down, and then this piston pushes across, whereas on the other button press, this piston pushes up, and then this piston pushes across, giving us a comparator output through into this redstone lamp. Now if you're wondering why I'm not using a redstone block, that is because this piston right here wouldn't be able to retract in that case, so you have to make use of a filled cauldron. However, with this sideways version of the design, we don't have that problem. We're not getting any bud powering going on, which means that we can make use of the redstone block. Now it's still a falling edge monostable circuit, and we have made it a tiny bit bigger because we've had to add in this extra dimension up here, whereas this one's 1 wide, this one is now 2 blocks tall. But that does mean that you shaved off the comparator, and also you've reduced the amount of iron the design uses by quite a long way, as cauldrons are pretty expensive. This little system is pretty interesting. It's another dropper hopper T-flip-flop, but instead of using cycling items like the ones over there, this one makes use of redstone circuits to lock the item in place. So the item is currently locked inside this hopper, which is facing into this dropper, with the dropper facing back into the hopper, and when we hit this button, it will very quickly unlock the hopper, allowing the item to travel through into the dropper. Then when we hit the button again, the item gets shot from the hopper in the hopper, and the hopper locks just in time to keep it in place, so we get the toggling mechanism. If you want to do a really quick and dirty TFlipFlop system that also has a bit of a flash,
Corrupt Deck is much more mature than me, though. If you meet me in person, Corrupt Deck's a little bit more mature than me.
in between, then you can do this one. You hit the button and it will flash once and then stay like this, and we hit the button again, it will flash once and then turn off. Now the way that this works is we're essentially locking the hoppers in their position. So we hit this button, unpowers, item goes back and forth and then gets locked in one position, and then we hit the button again, items goes back and forth and then it locks in the other position. Not necessarily advised for most redstone circuits, and also it requires a 10-tick pulse from this stone button. Nothing else will work. Another system which makes use of observers and also 1-tick pulses is this one right here. Now for those of you who don't know, observers can detect redstone updates from hoppers. They give off a redstone update when they become powered, which means that all you have to do is quickly power this hopper right here, and that will allow the observer to detect it and spit out the redstone block. Now this is a falling edge monostable circuit, but it's pretty compact and also relatively fast at detecting the falling edge. Now this little thing has to be one of the smallest TFlipFlops I've ever seen. It's 4 blocks in size and is completely self-contained with the comparator inbuilt. So when we hit this button, the item will be spat out from this dropper right here and go into this hopper, which will then put the item inside this drop. And then when we hit the button again, the item will be sent from this dropper upwards into this dropper, which will activate our comparator. Hit the button, it cycles round. You guys get the picture. The only thing that I would be a little bit concerned about is if someone stands too close, they might potentially pick up the item. It'll be difficult, but it could potentially happen. These two designs are actually fairly similar. They work in exactly the same fashion, and they're essentially better versions of this redstone circuit over here. So instead of having the item travel back and forth a lot, what this will do is it will do it with a 1-tick
That was excellent.
pulse, which means
We're striving to deliver a package with 0 emissions.
Ray.
I feel really proud of the impact that
Wait, you want no internet?
daughter
It's Stone. Wait, it's Stone. It's my boy Stone Man.
environment, so hopefully they can have a great future.
Where's Stone Man at? No, it's Snapping Falcon. Ooh, yo, sugo. Oh, let's you take. Let's you take. It's Frogman Kubo. What kind of name is that? Oh, Lord.
Play awesome games and collect cool figures.
Yes.
Use them to raise
Sad.
your game. So much cooler than Robin. Collect and play in Cartoon Network Arcade.
I don't want to get sad though, so it's yes, sad. Wow, 5% said I want better. The worst Burkle exposed video ever. There's nothing to expose. I mean, wow, girl, you got yourself possessed. Green cicada screams. Oh yeah. Wait, what? Person build that changed Minecraft forever. Minecraft is addictive as crack. Anybody agrees, guys? Anybody agree? A grammar is terrible. That's one thing to agree about.
My stepbrother Gerald was a magician, okay?
Hey, your lady is just as bad.
He pulled from my ear before I
The
realized
thing
it
dog
was
tramp.
still
Wait,
my
what?
ice cream money. I never forgave him.
Okay, well, how about this one?
Alright, guys. Let's watch some Blast from Blast That Ass HD.
What it is, guys? It's your boy Blasphemous HD, and today we are here to laugh. First off,
subscribe. If you want 1 year, good luck. I mean, actually, I don't care if you're subscribed or not. I don't post for likes or views. Happy 4 subscribers, I guess. I'm not impressed. Nowhere near as good as Markiplier or Blasphemous HD. That's in McClellan. Let's see how much he has. Danton McClellan. You know, skulle Danton McClellan. Danton McClellan. I said Danton McClellan, didn't I? Danton McClellan? Yes, I know Danton. You are new. I want people to think I am a good person. I agree. Yes. Props, brother. How many subscribers do you have? I'm your 2nd subscriber. You deserve it. You deserve that freaking subscribe. You really do deserve it. You deserve it, man. You really do. Yes, indeed. I mean, yes, indeed. Okay, fine. I'm just gonna go watch some other stuff. Let's watch
Playlist. Basically, all the videos that have made me laugh the hardest on the internet are in the description down below. Lego. This is America. What the? Don't got you flipping. What the? This is America. Don't got you flipping. It dropped the bottle in there like little motherfuckers. It dropped it in there, bro.
Any meme. Wait, let's say. PewDiePie in any decent meme. Lord. Video edits. I fall for that. Oh, and yes, that is terrible. Oh, exposed video ever. Blast that ass, HD. Cats on. No, I'm not gonna watch it. It's terrifying. Yeah, the game's over. It's easy. Yeah, it is, ain't it? VI seconds. Blast that ass. HD Gaming. Blasphemous HD Pranks. BHD Clips. Young Child Support. Blasphemous HD Cooking. Maurice Barnett.
I think that if I attracted to a large enough body of water, it may
And free.
disintegrate. Hot dog! Let's douse this blob! What are you waiting for? I just need a minute. Track 3, please, doorbell. Distance, mobile number.
That was enough of video watching. No, it's not. I'll be back later.